Out of these 600 people, there were Mensa level geniuses, there were Stanford alumni, intelligence people, army people, civilians, natural psychics. And out of these 600, only 6 of them, so 1%, showed significant talent. And that one of those was Joe McMoneagle. And so he had 5 first place matches out of 6 during his tests, which is unheard of. So essentially, a fourth place match is if the target is a bumblebee and I draw and describe this coaster. Mm-hmm. Okay. Fourth place match.
Yeah. Nowhere near it.
Not great. A third place match might be if this coaster was fuzzy and black and yellow, but still a coaster. Now you're like, oh, a third place match. That's kind of cool. A second place match might be if I drew a wasp, right? Or a hornet. And a first place match is if you drew a bumblebee and described a bumblebee and could lay the photo over. He got 5 first place matches out of 6.
That's pretty crazy.
It's insane. And when you look at some of the tests that he did and the results, and he was also an artist, so he's very accurate with his drawings. They weren't subjective. They weren't these nebulous, blobs of like, oh, I guess that could be a kind of like a kettle or something. No, they were like artist renditions. They were amazing. And so they used him for years, for 20 years that we know of, right? During these programs. He was used to find a general that was kidnapped, General Dozier in Italy. He was kidnapped by some like rebel force and he found where he was, how many guards were there, and it was thanks to him that they actually found this American general and they saved him.
And there's documents.
Yeah, there's documents. This is all
that's what's crazy. It's like you hear this, and my first thought is, come on. And then like
they found a tracker in the pocket calculator hidden on a spy. Because of him, they found downed aircraft. They found things in the ocean, like recovered aircraft in the ocean, thanks to him.
Aircraft?
Yeah, like jets. Okay. Yeah.
We got to, in a podcast like this, we got to ask.
Yeah, they used him for like UFO stuff too. Yeah. He told me a story about that. But he doesn't like those targets very much because...
Not an alien guy.
No, he just doesn't like it because they're unverifiable. So like, okay, I can describe a UFO or whatever, but he's like, there's no way to verify that the target was that. Right. So it's like, it's just up in the air. Was it accurate? Was it not accurate? We don't know. But they used him to find a lot of nuclear bases too, like places where they had like nuclear missiles. And they were very accurate with that stuff. In fact, so here's a crazy stat. In the 20 years that Stargate was around, there was 19 intelligence agencies. 17 out of the 19 agencies came back to Stargate for new missions. Right. So if you're running a restaurant and 19 people show up, and then the second day, 17 of those 19 show up, it's pretty good food.
That's pretty good food.
Yeah. 505 individual missions over 20 years between the 17 out of the 19 agencies.
In a program that they, big air quotes here, allegedly shut down at the end.
Yeah, and that they said didn't work.
Right.
Well, the Joint Task Force came back 142 times. Just the Joint Task Force. 142 times. And Joe and Dr. Edwin May, they both said that the Joint Task Force, what they would do is they would intercept a lot of drug smuggling coming in on boats using remote viewing. That's why they came back 142 times.
I feel like Eric Prince is using some of this right now to blow up some fucking Haitian drug lords.
I mean, if it worked that well, why wouldn't you use it? Right? And again, the thing that people need to understand about remote viewing, because I know a lot of people are rolling their eyes right now and they're like, how can you perceive something, at a distance or away from space and time non-locally? How is that accurate? Well, the way intelligence works is that they will never use a single source of intelligence to track something down or to strike or they will always use multiple points, right? So they'll use a satellite photo, they'll use people on the ground, an agent there, they'll use radar signals detecting the radar moved over here, and they have this type of radar, which means they probably have missiles there. Like they have all these other things. This was just another thing. So sometimes they would have boom, boom, boom. We think the hostages are here because we have this. They wouldn't tell this to the remote viewers. because these are all top secret missions, the remote viewers wouldn't know 95% of the targets. They would never even know afterwards because they were classified targets. So the agency, whether it's the CIA or the FBI or the Joint Task Force, they would simply give the target to the Stargate taskers, or not even the taskers, just some people at Stargate. The taskers would then hold on to it. They would give the number, or the person would hold on to it. They would give the number to the tasker. So the tasker doesn't know what the target is. And the tasker would then do the session with the remote viewer. So it's double blind. Even the tasker doesn't know. And so they do their session. They then take that session, give it back to the Joint Task Force, and never see it again. And the Joint Task Force came back 142 times doing that. So you have to assume that something worked, right? So they're getting perhaps, if they're looking for a nuclear base, and then they're getting like some drawing of like a nuclear silo in a building that looks the same as their signals intelligence is telling them, as their satellite imagery, then they have to go, okay, maybe there is something here.
Yes.
Now, they had to do this for an oversight committee year after year to prove to them that remote viewing is real so that they'd renew the budget. So Joe McMoneagle went into SCIFs doing remote viewing sessions. And they would be like, all right, approved, here you go. Good to renew for another year. And it wasn't until somebody, because I think one of the MK Ultra programs killed themselves on LSD, that like it blew up.
Oh, that's nice.
And people found out about Stargate and then said, what are you guys doing over there? And General Stubblebine and all. So they publicly shut it down and said, this stuff never worked. And it was all horse shit.
They just changed the name.
Of course.
Flipped around the files.
Obviously.
Said, don't worry about that whole Charles Manson thing.
Obviously.
Don't worry about it.
So yeah, needless to say, Joe McMoneagle is like the LeBron James of remote viewing.
He looks a little different, but yeah.
Yeah. He is though. And what they found out, here's what's interesting, and I'll get to the out of body stuff in a second, but
take your time, bro. We got all day.
What they found was interesting. And this is something that not a lot of people talk about, but Dr. May, the 6 people, the 1% that had undeniable talent in remote viewing, they found them to also have synesthesia.
Oh, where they had, whoa.
Yeah, so they could perceive colors and sounds.
By
and,
sounds,
yeah, all sorts of different, the brain's wired differently. But all 6 of them. So now they have something to look for. All 6 of them had that. And they were doing all sorts of wild tests with remote viewing.
That's also, so that's just, so I understand correctly, that's just like an added nice component. Because I don't have a percentage for you or anything, especially off the top of my head. I don't know. But there's people that I have aspects of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, and I talk to people who have that, right?
Yep.
So you're saying this is just like another correlation, possibly equaling causation.
Yeah, it's
type element.
Absolutely. It seems like everybody has some latent sort of talent for remote viewing, but there are people like LeBron James who are just better at basketball.
Yeah.
I can shoot hoops. Mm-hmm. Won't make it to the NBA.
Yeah, not like him.
Same deal with remote viewing. I think what we're seeing is that people who do have synesthesia seem to have some existing aptitude.
And there's also
these children from the telepathy tapes also, a lot of them have synesthesia. So that's where it starts to get interesting.
Yes.